Alright, so I'm gonna try to run my mouth as much as I can before my phone dies. You know, I talk a lot about certain things and I bring certain things up over various videos across the lifespan of my channel. And a lot of that is not because of speculation, because of things that I've read. It's because of things that I've actually seen. So, I'll tell you a quick story about kind of how I feel like I got sucked into all this. About, I'm going to say about 3.5, 4 years ago, I started seeing lights in the sky. And these weren't normal lights. These were like these golden orbs kind of up in the sky. Like, it looked like a star, but it would kind of blink on and off, on and off. It was not a helicopter. It was not a plane. I mean, I spent weeks kind of trying to decipher the difference between such things, and I came to the conclusion it wasn't that. I mean, any normal person off the street could see that. Well, I started recording this stuff on video. I had a camera and I would go out every night and I would record this stuff. And I found that the more I went out at night and the more I recorded, the more I saw, right? And I started seeing all kinds of stuff through the lens of the camera. And I think what was going on, in retrospect, I think what was going on was I was actually, part of it was the camera and part of it was me. See, this is before I was at the point where I understood, like, how, like, you know, how perception works and how a lot of this, you know. So I was positive this was just a nuts and bolts kind of thing, but it wasn't. But for some strange reason, the camera was facilitating, like, part of this exchange. And my eyes and whatever else was, you know, kind of completing this circuit. And I was seeing a lot of weird stuff. I was seeing creatures and I was seeing ships. I mean, all kinds of different ships. Like, you know, like traditional looking UFOs. I remember once I saw a ship that can only be described as how they describe those, like, Palladian ships. It looked like a UFO. Like, you know, standard UFO, if that UFO was crafted out of, like, disco ball material. And it was just, like, spinning, and next to it was, I'll never forget, this giant, like, creature, like a big golem, and it looked like it was made out of stone. And it had to be, like, the size of the ship, like, at least, you know, standing up. It was super tall. And next to that was just, like, a massive, like little tiny, like, orbs or spheres, but they were, like, polka dotted, you know? They looked like Dippin' Dots, like the ice cream, but it was like a swarm of them. And they were all swarming around the ship. So it was like the ship, this giant automaton thing, and these Dippin' Dots. And I say automaton, like when I saw it, I didn't get the feeling that it was alive in the traditional sense. It felt like some kind of machine or robot that was, you know, standing next to this ship. And anyway, long story short, I would see these things all the time. Like, go out every night, I'd see this stuff. And sometimes in the daytime. I would even see, like, structures that, you know, in our three-dimensional world would look like, okay, this is a building or a structure, but then I would put the camera on it and I would see, like, additions to the structure, making it something else completely. Like, you know, like, imagine, like, a Lego set, and on one hand, the Lego set is let's say it's a hospital, and then you put a lens on it, and suddenly the hospital has all this weird shit growing out of it, and towers, and spires, and all kinds of crazy shit. That's the stuff that I was seeing. Well, one day, something happened. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I just know that I felt a strong buzzing in the back of my head, in the back of my skull, and it was, like, overwhelming. And I noticed, I'm sorry. I was out filming, and I saw a ship, and I had never seen this kind of ship before. It was long, it was elongated, it almost like the body of a train car, a train engine, like that type of dimension. But it was gold and black with accents of red, and at the very front of it, there was a golden, like a dragon or eagle, and I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was this face, this like snarling face coming out the front of it, right? I almost feel like it was an eagle, but anyway, so I don't know, it just felt really strange, and I started feeling this buzzing at the back of my head, and I noticed that as the buzzing grew, when I took the camera off of that area, the thing was still there. Almost like, I don't know, through the camera and my perception, I like broke that barrier, because I started seeing everything then. Everything. And there was no filter. There was no filter at all. I don't know if what I was seeing was things in another dimension, like I was seeing things in a fourth or fifth dimensional kind of way. I don't know if I was seeing things that were just cloaked to the human eye. To this day, I don't know exactly what that was, or exactly in what capacity it was. I can only describe what I saw. And yeah, and I spent the next hour and a half seeing these things as they began to just manifest around me. And a lot of them were scary, because a lot of them were they were investigating me. I could feel it, because I wasn't supposed to be seeing them. And they started gathering. But there were other ones that would show up, right? So there were these ships, these silver ships. They were very sleek and elongated, and they had these which is so funny now that you think of it. I'm always talking about street lights, right? Now I'm kind of just putting this together now. But they had these things coming out of the top of okay, I'm thinking, I gotta use my words. They had these appendages, these ships, these silver sleek ships, and they kind of dangled in front of the ship like a dangler fish, right? But imagine just a sleek, just a sleek kind of ovular shape, kind of pointy in the front, and then at the very at the top there were these dangly things that kind of had I don't remember if they were glowing or not, but they kind of just hung there, Actually, speaking of street lights, I don't think I've ever told this either. So back when I was filming stuff, I would get stuff in street lights. I would get they almost came across holographic projections, kind of golden. And I remember, I'm gonna get back to what I was saying before, but just really quick, segue. I remember I was filming one street lamp one time, and I saw, it was a projected image of a dolphin bobbing out of water. Maybe I've already said this. A dolphin bobbing out of water. There were a grid of domes, almost looked like a habitation of domes, and then I saw weird gears turning, it was trying to show me some kind of configuration forming itself. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, I started seeing all this stuff, and like I said, these other ships were showing up. This is shit that was just manifesting in my backyard, and it didn't even it didn't stop there. It's I remember walking past the television set, and just in the news footage, in the broadcast, I saw just orbs everywhere, and then there were these creatures and these beings standing next to the news broadcaster, but the news broadcaster either couldn't see it or didn't acknowledge them. But they were just standing. I saw stuff everywhere, and it was one of the most overwhelming things you could possibly ever experience. I felt my mind was about to crack open. And again, I don't know if I was able to see into another dimension, or I was just seeing what was here. Again, I saw these buildings, like these buildings and these walls and these like spires, but they were inside of what we consider to be like the confines of my own city, you know. But they were like behind buildings and parts of buildings and all that stuff. And like I said, I felt like there were forces that were trying to attack me, and then I felt like there were forces that were trying to protect me. And long story short, it eventually went away. It took me, I don't think I picked up a camera for like a year after that because I was so scared. But it took me a while to kind of regain my equilibrium and kind of like get back into the questioning and wandering phase because I was really afraid. I never saw like that again. I never had that kind of experience where I saw so clearly so much, you know. I often wonder if that was taken from me, or I don't know, the circumstances just weren't replicated. I don't know, but felt like sharing that because I'm always talking about this stuff, and like, yeah, it's just stuff, you know, stuff that I've experienced and stuff that I've seen. So anyway, I have been going on for 11 minutes, and this is where I put the plug in it. I will talk to you lovely people later. Stay safe, stay awesome, and yeah.